So it's Thursday. We all know what that means. Now to whet your appetites ahead of the weekend, ILTV's Wine of the Week. For this week's wine pick, we're focusing on the Domaine du Castel Winery. In 1988, almost by chance, Eli Ben Zaken planted the first modern-day vineyard to be found in the Judean hills in the backyard of his home in Ramat Raziel. Within 4 years' time, family and close friends came together to harvest the grapes that would become the winery's very first wine, Castel Grand Vin, 1992. And joining me now in studio with more is Domaine du Castel and Raziel owner, Eli Ben Zaken. Eli, pleasure to have you today. How are you?
It's a pleasure to have been invited.
I'm very happy too. Now, so Eli, what's the wine of the week you brought us today?
I brought you Raziel Red 2020. It's a COVID brew.
A COVID brew. What can you say about that?
It's that year I was afraid that the COVID would either put us in bed or confined. My son and I, my son Eitan, were making wine together, and I told him, you know what, it's too dangerous. So you make wine in Castel, and I make wine in the Raziel, which is the winery next to my house in Ramat Raziel, and we can talk on the phone. So we talked a lot on the phone, but I always ended the call by saying, you've asked me, I told you what I think, but it's your responsibility.
That's interesting. And what can you tell us about the wine itself? I mean, its taste, what it's...
in Castel, we've always made Bordeaux blends. Grand Vin, Petit Castel, and Chardonnay, of course. And when we moved then to Yad Hashmona, and we had a much larger facility, for 2 years we didn't do anything in the old winery. And then we decided to go back, and there were different alternatives, but the one we chose was to use it as a playing ground for new things. So the red is a blend of the Rhône Valley, Syrah, Grenache, Mourvèdre, and some Carignan. And we also make a rosé.
This is the red wine, though, right?
This is the red one, yeah. We also make a rosé, and we make some sparkling wine also, but very small quantities because it's really to play with.
That's nice. And Eli, I understand you weren't such a pro from the start. Where did this courage come from? Start like a family winery from the beginning?
Well, at the beginning it was just by chance. I like to say that I didn't have a dream when I started, but now I have a dream. And the dream is to make the best possible Israeli wine, to pass, well, I've already passed it on to the first generation, to my kids, Ilana, Eitan, and Ariel. And hopefully there will be someone in the third generation
that wants to do it?
Which will want to carry on.
So your kids are working in the winery? They're in the business?
Yes, they're not kids anymore.
They're not kids anymore.
They're even older than you are. But they're about in their 50s. Okay. And yeah, it's...
And what more can you tell us about the Domaine du Castel Winery? When can we come visit? I mean, when is it open?
You have to call the winery and book an appointment to visit or just to sit down and have a glass of wine and some cheese. This is something developing very nicely lately in all the Israeli wineries. Castel is really something which has succeeded because all the stars were there together. Yes. It was a time when Israelis were starting to travel more and more and drink more and more and eat more and more good food. And so we were on the scene at the right time. And also we made consistently good wines, which were recognized also internationally. So
that's interesting. Israelis love wine, that's for sure. Now let's see it. I mean, I want our viewers to have a look at what it looks like. They can't taste it, unfortunately, from afar, but we will, for sure.
yes, it's actually it's a wine loved very much by ladies.
Thank you very much. Eli Ben
So
Zaken.
it's mainly Syrah. It has received very, very high marks. The highest mark ever given to an Israeli wine were given to the Grand Vin and to Raziel, not of this vintage, and the mark was 97. So we're very proud.
You have a lot to be proud about. So Eli Ben Zaken, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. L'chaim.
À la santé.
À la santé.